Welcome back to Time Out with J and G. It's Jay over here. It's G over there.
Yo, what is going on, everyone?
We have a packed episode for you today. As we're recording this, the trade deadline for the NFL ended about an hour ago, and it was a trade deadline. It wasn't very exciting. Not really any big names moved. A couple guys, but nothing too crazy. But we'll talk about that a little bit later in the episode. We have a few things to get into today, but before that, how you doing today, Levi?
I'm doing all right. Last day at work before my vacation, so hopefully I can just chill for the next 5 days.
It's going to be awesome, man. I'm jealous you get to go on vacation, man. So, like I said, trade deadline, we're going to get into that a little bit later. There's a couple different things I want to kind of talk about, and then we'll get into your college football report, and you guys know how it goes at this point in time. Quick shout-out, not really a shout-out, but the first thing we'll talk about is Greg Popovich. I don't know if you guys have heard the news that from Shams, San Antonio Spurs coach Greg Popovich suffered a health issue before Saturday's game, and assistant coach Mitch Johnson is expected to be the interim head coach for an indefinite amount of periods. And Shams then just went on ahead report earlier today that apparently it's like a serious concern for a health injury or like a health issue. It's a serious concern right now. They haven't disclosed what happened to him. Which I don't think they will either for a while until he's probably better. So I understand that. So, I just figured we give our prayers to Greg Popovich and his family because obviously at that point in time, I think he's in his 70s, maybe even close to 80 now.
Yeah, he's not a young spring chicken anymore.
No, hearing that they have a serious health concern for a guy like that is never a good thing. So we're hoping he gets through this and he's going to be fine. Is there anything you want to say?
No, I mean, Greg Popovich, probably one of the greatest coaches of all time.
Mm-hmm.
It's obviously with his age, at some point later it was going to catch up to him, but hopefully he can, kick this thing and, just keep on rolling forward.
Yep, shout out Greg Popovich. Also, there's an injury. ESPN story, the Denver Nuggets will be without forward Aaron Gordon for multiple weeks due to a calf strain. So, an already kind of weird, rough start to the season for the Nuggets now has them without their, I don't even know, he's probably been their second best player to start the year, honestly, with the way Michael Porter Jr. and Jamal Murray have been playing. So
I was about to say the exact same thing. I mean, like you said, Jamal Murray, Michael Porter Jr. haven't been playing the best. Aaron Gordon is kind of like filling that role, and he's been the second best player. He's doing everything he needs to do. Right now he's averaging about 15 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, and playing some good defense. I mean, it kind of sucks that Michael Porter Jr. and Jamal Murray haven't been playing the best, but, you got to deal with the cards you're given.
Hey, Russell Westbrook had another good game. He's had a couple good games now. Well, Russell Westbrook will give you a good game and then 3 awful games and then another good game. So you kind of just have to take it as you go.
Yeah.
Again, shout out Aaron Gordon. Hopefully it's not a long time. There's been quite a few injuries to start this year. And both in the NFL and in the NBA, it's been not very – it's kind of sucked. It's honestly kind of sucked.
It has.
Now, the elephant in the room, this came out after we recorded last week, and I talked about it on my channel on the Cloud Report. Joel Embiid situation. The breaking news came out probably, about a half hour ago from before we started recording this, that the NBA has suspended Philadelphia 76ers Joel Embiid for 3 games for an altercation shoving a columnist in the post-game locker room. What are your initial thoughts on that?
Not knowing what happened, what was said, 100%, I would like to know exactly what happened before I really give a full opinion on this. Because if the columnist kind of, poked at Embiid and kind of woke the bear, then it's kind of just like, well, I don't blame Embiid. You know what I mean?
So, is that you saying you're not really familiar with the situation right now?
No, I'm not. I know an altercation did happen, and something happened where a columnist got punched or something, and then now he gets suspended.
So, Sean's put out a tweet on November 2nd, which would have been Saturday, would have been this past Saturday, that 76ers Joel Embiid got into an altercation with a columnist following tonight's game in Philadelphia. Embiid took issue with a recent column that referenced his late brother and son, and Embiid shoved the columnist, no punch was thrown. And so then somebody then put a screenshot of the section of the article this columnist, his name is Marcus Hayes. This columnist's name is Marcus Hayes. And what I'm going to read to you next is exactly what he wrote in the published article, verbatim, word for word. Okay. Joel Embiid consistently points to the birth of his son, Arthur, as the major inflection point in his basketball career. He often says that he wants to be great, to leave a legacy for the boy named after his little brother, who tragically died in an automobile accident when Embiid was in his first year as a 76er. Well, in order to be great at your job, you first have to show up for work. Embiid has been great at just the opposite. Now in his 11th season, he consistently has been in poor condition. This poor conditioning apparently seems to have delayed his debut this season. Embiid won't play in Wednesday's opener or the next two games, and that was released before the season started. So basically, what Embiid got upset with and what a lot of people are upset with is there was absolutely no reason for this columnist to mention his little brother or his son that he named his son after his little brother that passed away in Embiid's rookie year. And apparently, this is far from the only time Embiid and this reporter have had an issue. I'm going to see if I can find it here if my Face ID will work. I had the post for my cloud report I did on Sunday, and let me see if I can pull it up here. You go ahead, give me your thoughts on that whole situation while I pull up what I had.
I'm going to be honest. I feel like we're getting to a point in media to where columnists are taking it too far and there's no pushback. You know what I mean? Like there's no repercussion from their employer because they want the clicks, they want the views. But at some point, there's got to be that line drawn. And this was over the line. I'm going to be honest, I don't blame Embiid for shoving him. I really don't.
Yeah.
I probably would have done the same thing. You know, if
okay. No, go ahead, finish up. Sorry, I just found what I was looking for.
I was going to say, if a columnist is willing to do that, then you got to take the consequences. I prefer it not be physical like that. I wish their employer would kind of be like, hey, don't do that. You do it again, you're getting X, Y, and Z. You know what I mean? Something like that. But I mean, I don't blame Embiid for doing what he did.
So this is an article I used again on Sunday for my episode. So I'll just kind of reread what I was reading on that episode. As reporters entered the locker room to talk to players, Embiid stood and confronted Hayes. And in quotes, Embiid said, "The next time you bring up my dead brother and my son again, you're going to see what I'm going to do to you, and I'm going to have to live with the consequences," he said directly to this reporter. It goes on. It goes on. Embiid continued with several instances of profanity. So if you guys don't like profanity, Hayes initially offered an apology, which Embiid did not want. And he said, "This is not the fucking first time," Embiid said. Embiid later said that he doesn't care what reporters say. Then Hayes responded, "But you do care what reporters say." So they started going back and forth. Embiid at this point in time appeared to get louder and not long afterward pushed Hayes on the shoulder while the team's public relations chief got between them. Another PR person moved Tyrese Maxey's interview to the hallway outside the locker room because they were trying to interview Tyrese Maxey in the locker room when this all popped off. So they got Maxey and those people up out of the locker room. At the same time, a team security person asked the media not to report on what had happened. Embiid yelled over the security guard and said, in quote, "They can do whatever they want. I don't give a shit." Embiid had called Hayes out in a press conference following practice on Friday at the team's training facility. This was on Friday after practice, and then this event. This next part when Embiid called him out was after practice on Friday, and then this event happened the next day on Saturday. So this is kind of backtracking a day. Embiid called out Hayes in a press conference following practice on Friday at the team's training facility, referring to him as Marcus, whatever his name is, and questioning critics on his prolonged absence. Hayes recently wrote a story saying that Embiid disrespects the 76ers and the game, and that the team should consider giving fans refunds when Embiid doesn't play. And Embiid keeps going. And this is all in quotes. Embiid says, "I've done way too much for this city to be treated like this. Done way too much. I wish I was as lucky as other ones, but that doesn't mean that I'm not trying and that I'm not doing whatever it takes to be out there, which I'm going to be pretty soon." So at the end, it's pretty much saying, Embiid saying, I don't want to be hurt. I'm not trying to be hurt. Like, I'm trying to get back and play. And so I guess that was what he was poking at. But after reading that or listening to that, give me more of your updated thoughts on this whole situation.
Yeah, no, I don't blame Embiid for shoving him at all.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest. And the biggest gripe that I do have is allowing media to be in the locker room.
Yes. Yeah.
That's why you have a media room. You want to talk to a player, you have
go to like the press room. Yep.
Yes, like do it something like that. Do it in a hallway. Don't go into the locker room. That's kind of like their safe haven. You know what I mean? like that's their place to change, to cool down and stuff like that. There shouldn't be cameras or anything like that, unless obviously the coach is okay with it and the players are okay with it. You know what I mean? With like, you know what I mean? But no, there shouldn't be anybody that is not directly involved with the team in a locker room.
And that kind of goes to a couple weeks ago on Podcast P. Paul George was kind of talking about it. And this was before the whole Embiid situation. But he was referencing that, like, they're going to the locker room right after the game, and immediately reporters are filing in while they're trying to change, while they're trying to take showers. And it's like, because that's when that quote, and I remember I tweeted about it a couple weeks ago, that Paul George said that there used to be a reporter in Washington that would, in quotes, Paul George said would be a meat watcher. So, like, he would, like, the reporter would just be looking at guys while they're trying to change. And that's what Paul George was saying, that, like, they should give the players 15 to 20 minutes after the game to kind of change and, like, take a shower before they let the reporters in to kind of do their interviews, which, I agree on the stance that, like, the locker room should be their own place. That the locker room's for players and coaches only. I don't think reporters or any people with the media should be in the locker room at all. If you want to put a 20-minute timer on it, then let them in. That's one thing. But it's like you said, that's their safe haven. That's their safe space. They're literally changing their clothes, taking showers. There's no reason national media and TV needs to be in there.
And even then, like, the people that get interviewed are like the top end players. Like maybe your top 5 guys, or maybe if your bench player has a really good game. You know what I mean? So they know who's probably going to get interviewed after the game. So they could be like, okay, you guys have like, 20 minutes to change, shower, get yourself together. Then you got a media interview at this location. You know what I mean?
Yep.
They take them there, do the interview, take them back to the locker room or whatever. Yeah, there's no reason anybody at all should be in that locker room that is not directly involved with the team.
Yeah, and so going back to my original question, where like, I think I'm not surprised in the slightest that Embiid got suspended. I think, as much as I think that everybody is kind of understanding why Embiid did what he did, at the end of the day, he's still a professional player that shoved a media person. He's going to get suspended. I was surprised there's no fine attached. Maybe a fine comes out later, or maybe the fine is a private thing. But it's unfortunate, but it's something that it's just going to happen. I am curious. Huh?
You said about the fine. So apparently, the suspension for the 3 games is going to cost Embiid a little over $1 million because I guess a game.
Oh, just for missing the games. Yeah, okay. But sometimes the NBA will just hand out fines either way. But again, like I said, that might be something that might come out later, or maybe not. But I'm also, like I was saying, I'm curious what's going to happen to this Marcus Hayes guy, because I don't understand how this article got published in the first place with a quote like that in it. Because this is like, this guy's a columnist, so like he wrote it, he typed it out, he probably proofread it a couple of times, he probably sent it to his editor proofread it, was like, sure, okay, and then they published it. This went through multiple people to get published, and at some point in time, somebody should have looked at that. Maybe, I don't know the rest of the article, maybe it was just that one section, like, hey, maybe just take this part out about his son and his brother, because it's just, there's literally no reason for this to be in there. And then you take that paragraph out, you're fine. But it's just, I'm assuming this guy, I don't know what's going to happen to him. I don't know what they can do to this reporter. Maybe they'll say, hey, you can't interview players. Maybe they'll take that privilege away from him, which I guess would be something. But I don't know. I don't know who he works. I think it's the Philadelphia. I don't even know who he works for. I can't find who he works for. I'll look that up.
Man's just an independent reporter causing beef to try and get clicks.
Yeah, right. That'd be
insane.
I want to see if I can. Yeah, I'm trying to. I don't see. Philadelphia Inquirer, I think, is who he writes for. So, Philadelphia Inquirer, I'm sure you guys know about it. There's got to be. I think there's got to be some type of action taken against this guy too,
Absolutely.
or just like a new editor, or just something that's going to have a stronger proofreading process, so something like this doesn't ever get posted.
There's no reason to name drop his son and his younger dead brother. Rest in peace.
Yep. So yeah, again, like I said, I just figured we wanted to talk about that, give our opinions, because it's a crazy thing going on right now. Does Embiid deserve a suspension? I guess for the action, but I think we all can understand the reason behind the action. So it is what it is. I guess he won't serve a suspension until he's healthy again. So whenever he's healthy, he'll then miss those 3 games, and then we'll be. So I don't know when we're going to see Embiid played. Honestly, it could be another week or two. But that's all for the news today. I'm going to save the rest of it for the rest of the episode. We talk about the trade deadline. So, are you ready to jump into your college football?
One thing I do want to talk about real quick.
Okay.
We talked about it on Twitter a little bit, but the 76ers are down. I think it was 2 points or 1 point.
Oh yeah. Okay.
With not 10 seconds. Let me just pull the game up real quick, so I know exactly what I'm talking about. It was against Milwaukee too. Crazy. No, it wasn't.
I was going to say no. It was not against Milwaukee.
It was against the Suns.
Yeah.
I was looking at it wrong. So Kevin Durant comes down. He hits, I believe, a pull-up mid-range to go up 2 with about 10 seconds left. Maxey at this point in the game, right? Maxey is 12 for 22, 6 for 14 from 3. He has 32 points. He's got the hot hand tonight for the 76ers. Now, I understand you want to give it to, Paul George, the veteran. He's made some big shots in the past, but Paul George up until that point was about 4 for 12, 1 for 6 from 3, or 1 for 5 from 3.
It was also his first game of the season, too. His debut.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's just, in this situation, I would have preferred Maxey got the final shot because he was playing good. Maxey's played, I believe, in every game so far.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I feel like I said, I think Maxey should have got the last shot. Like I said,
well, I mean, technically he did. He got it off as the buzzer went off. they did get the rebound back out to Maxey, but the buzzer went off before he got the shot off. No, I agree. It was weird that the ball ended up in Paul George's hand in that situation. And like we kind of talked about, like the only reason I can put behind it is that they're like, okay, Paul George. I don't think it's great to say Paul George is still the better player than Tyrese Maxey. Like Tyrese Maxey's having a good start to the year, but I think as an overall player, I think Paul George is still the better player. And I think the reasoning was, listen, this guy, Paul George, we just spent all this money to bring in. We want him to be the guy right now because Embiid is out still. And it was his first game, and I think it was a mixture between that and a mixture between Paul George saying, hey, this is my first game in Philadelphia, or playing for Philadelphia. I want to make the big shot to the game winner. You know what I mean? Kind of making my statement that I'm here. And it ended up with Tyrese Maxey kind of standing there watching Paul George ISO up and miss the shot. And then, like I said, they got the rebound and tipped it out to Tyrese Maxey, but there wasn't enough time for him to fully get the shot off. And he missed the shot anyway, so it wouldn't have mattered. But it was just kind of, it was weird. It was weird. Like I said, the hot hand, Tyrese Maxey's been playing so good at the start of the year. It didn't really make sense.
It's to me, it was kind of like somewhat of a similar situation to when the Lakers, I think, were like down 2 points or something like that. And they ran a play drawn up by J.J. Redick, and Austin Reeves shot a 3 with maybe 20 seconds left or something like that, and he missed the 3. And when you go in, he was like 5 for 7 from 3 up until that point. Mm-hmm. Feed the hot hand, but 76ers, they're in a hole. But hopefully they can get out of this hole. Whether it's with Paul George and Max, or if Embiid comes back and all 3 of them can go on a tear. But this Sixers team, if they want to be able to be playing deep into the playoffs, they got to turn this around soon.
100%.
Alrighty. Anything else?
No, nope. You said it.
Alrighty. So into college football Week 10 review. First game I have on here is number 13 SMU defeats Pitt 48-25. SMU played some really good competition so far this season, and they lost a close one to BYU by 3. I believe that's their only loss on the season. And right now SMU is right behind Miami for that ACC championship game. If they can run the table and just win out, they'll find themselves a chance to make the college football playoff.
Yeah.
Next game, we have Louisville and Clemson. Like I said, Louisville is better than what people give them credit for. They played Miami tough. They had a couple of tough games. Clemson has not been the greatest this season. Just in their play. And when they play good teams, they kind of fold. When they played Georgia, they had the chance, they folded. But no, Louisville does get the win. Now on to the Commanders Cup game. Number 18 Army beats Air Force 20-3. Army went into this game without their starting quarterback, Bryson Daly, but they still pulled it off. A lot of people out there were saying Air Force was going to get the upset over Army because he wasn't playing. But, shout out to Army for pulling together. And, Army in a position to potentially make a push for the college football playoff.
Yeah, man, they could.
Yeah, I mean,
a team just fell out of the race after this past week.
no, your team is still in it.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
we have
they'll
one more
make
due
it,
loss.
but what?
We have one more due loss. It'll happen.
Nah, you guys can still make it as a 2-loss, depending on what goes on, obviously. But you never know what could happen. But no, on to the last game. We have number 3 Ohio State beating number 6 Penn State 20-13, and obviously
it was 3 and 4 when it happened. We were 3, they were 4.
Yeah, I'm doing the updated rankings.
My bad.
It's fine. But no, I'm just gonna say this now. James Franklin needs to be fired. Obviously, I know he's kind of having that kind of similar career line to Mike Tomlin, where you're getting winning seasons, you're doing good, but you're not getting over that hump.
Yep.
James Franklin, like you've said, consistently underprepares his team when they play against top teams. And this was a home game, and the crowd was electric from what I could see.
It was a record-breaking crowd. I've made the comments about James Franklin for a while now, and even years before we did the podcast. We all know James Franklin can recruit. That's one thing he's very good at. He can recruit. But when it comes to winning big games, Penn State has consistently fallen flat over the years that he's been our head coach. We struggle to beat Michigan. We struggle to beat Ohio State. And just like whoever, Alabama, like we get Alabama, we get an SEC team, we're going to probably lose to them. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we just struggle to beat these power offenses. And the problem is, really, Penn State's had a good defense for, I don't know, as long as I can remember. We never have a good offense. And our offense, well, I don't want to say never have a good offense, but our offense struggles to put up big points on these good defenses. And we saw it again this past week. Drew Aller was questionable going into the game with his injury. And the offense couldn't get moving. Tyler Warren, one of the best tight ends in the country right now, he's playing phenomenal. They gave him the ball. He ran the ball down to inside the 5-yard line and proceeded to hand off the ball to different people. But neither Tyler Warren or Nick Singleton got the ball once inside the 5-yard line, and we didn't score. We turned it over on 4th down inside our 5, or inside their 5. And it's just like, I don't know what goes through their mind. I don't know if they're trying to overthink it. They're like, oh, it's 1st and goal on the 3-yard line. They know we're giving the ball to Nick Singleton, so we won't do that to try to fake him out. It's like, no, just give the ball to one of the better running backs. Give the ball to Tyler Warren, who just had that huge run. He's just a big guy. Let them run. Power versus power. Don't try to overthink, because as soon as they start overthinking, they start doing dumb shit, and it doesn't work out. It's like, it is literally, to a lesser degree, obviously, but like Pete Carroll throwing the ball in the end zone for the Super Bowl. The defense knows you're going to run with Marshawn Lynch, so we're going to outsmart him and throw the ball. What does it do? It backfires. Just do what works. I have a lot to say about James Franklin, and I'm not going to get on to it now. If there's a world, which there's not a world, it's not a world, but if there is a world where James Franklin stays on this coaching staff to help recruit and scout, but we find a new head coach, I would be all for it. I love the way he recruits people. I love that we bring in a lot of good players. We have a lot of good players. It's just, they never seem to be ready in these big-time games, or at least the offense doesn't seem to be ready in these big-time games. And I'm not surprised we lost. I think I predicted us to win, but we would talk about the whole time we talk about it. It's like, I'm predicting because they're my favorite team, but I wasn't really confident in it. It was the most unsurprising loss I've ever watched for this Penn State team. It's frustrating that it's like, we'll get 10, 11, 12 wins every single year, but it's always Ohio State and Michigan. It's always Ohio State and Michigan every single year. We beat one of them, we lose to the other one. It's just, yeah, it's frustrating.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I can understand that. And I'm just saying, the only way I think James Franklin stays on as a head coach is if you guys do make the college football playoff and you guys go past round 1. You get to round 2 or 3. That's kind of like the only way, because then it's kind of like, okay, well, now he's going against the top teams. He's beating them. You know what I mean? But, like, right now, if first round exit, I think got to move on from him. Like you said, great recruiter. I don't think he's a great motivator.
I just don't. I'm trying to see. I don't remember what year. He's got a large ass contract. Like, he's not going anywhere anytime soon.
Yeah.
His extension was 10 years. But I'm just trying to remember when that. I'm trying to remember when that. I know. I think. I'm trying to see how much he's got left on it. He's got a. Oof. I'm trying to find, and of course, going through these articles now, it's giving me 4 different answers on what it is. As of December 1st, 2024 is when they could potentially buy out his contract. $56.5 million to buy out that contract, which obviously Georgia bought out Kirby Smart for like over $100 million, if you remember that. So that it's not that kind of money, but it's still phenomenal money. Unfortunately, he's just going to be here. They're not getting rid of him. He's going to be here, and it's something you just have to kind of live with it. As much as I hate it, you just got to live with it and deal with it.
Yeah, that's kind of like one of them things where the fan base doesn't like him, but people within the organization or the college like him. And now you're just butting heads, but shout out Penn State. They're a good football team. They could potentially make some noise in the college football playoff if they don't dump one of these last couple games. Hopefully they don't, but that'll be seen to be remained. Now on to week 11. Only doing 2 games this week because I am going to talk about the college football playoff bracket. We are going to talk about it. But, upset game. Not a lot of big games, but my upset game for this week is number 19 Clemson at Virginia Tech. Clemson is favored by 6.5. Virginia Tech is one of the best environments in college football. I will stand on that mountain. They're top 15 in the country in their stadium atmosphere. Virginia Tech is coming off a close loss. And also, every time they play a good team, a good opponent, it's a close game within a touchdown, I do believe. I don't think it's going to be any different. I think Virginia Tech is going to beat Clemson. Clemson usually does fold when they do play similar style. It's not similar style, but similar tiered teams that are just as good as them. So I do think Clemson is going to lose this. That's my upset game for the week. What do you think?
I don't. Isn't the Virginia Tech quarterback hurt, or isn't he dealing with something?
I'm not 100% sure. Let me check real quick.
I thought, because I remember looking about that game, and seeing, Virginia Tech head coach Brent Fry provided some injury updates on Tuesday and said starting quarterback Kyron Drones is questionable this week, because he didn't play. He didn't play last week, so I don't know. If they're missing their quarterback, are you still going to take him?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Okay. I mean, if you look at their schedule, they lost to a really good Vanderbilt team who's ranked 24. They beat Marshall Dominion, lost to Rutgers by 3, lost to Miami by 4, which they should have beaten. Talked about that before on the podcast. Should have beat Miami. Bad call from the ref. They beat Stanford, Boston College, and Georgia Tech all by double digits. They did lose to Syracuse last week in overtime, I do believe. But no, I'm liking this matchup against Clemson. 3:30 game. Virginia Tech Stadium is going to be bumping. Like they are going to be loud and proud. And I don't know if Clemson's going to be able to handle it because Clemson has played some tough teams. Once I pull their schedule up here quick. You should have had all this prepared and ready. That is my fault. But they played Louisville last week and they lost.
Mm-hmm.
Like I just talked about, Louisville, really good football program. And they lost to Georgia, neutral site. They lost by 31. And the other teams they played, App State, beat them by 46. They played NC State, beat them by 24. Stanford beat them by 26. Florida State beat them by double digits. Wake Forest, Virginia both beat them by double digits. This is the third good team that they are going to be playing, and second in a row next to Louisville. I don't think Clemson and Dabo Swinney have it in them to lose to Louisville and then beat Virginia Tech. I'm going with the Hokies.
They'll go upset alert too. Why not?
All right, now for our next game. This is College Game Day. We have number 11 Alabama at number 14 LSU. Bama is favored in this game by 3.
Okay.
I was surprised, very surprised to see that, especially when they're going into Tiger Stadium. LSU, y'all got to be rocking. I'm surprised to see Bama favored over LSU while LSU is at home. LSU did lose 2 games. They lost to USC and Texas A&M. Bama lost to Vandy and Tennessee. All 4 of them losses are quality losses. I don't like talking about quality losses because I feel like it's a bunch of bull, but they're quality losses. But at the same time, the last time Bama had a 3-loss season in a regular season was in 2010. Guess who one of them losses was?
Who?
LSU.
Okay, that's fair.
I think history is going to repeat itself. I think LSU will beat Bama. I just got a feeling. I just got that feeling. But no, the winner of this game is pretty much locked in for the college football playoff, pending another loss, which I don't believe will happen. But the loser's pretty much out. They're looking on the outside in, and they probably won't get it unless it's Bama, because we all know the committee loves Alabama.
Yeah.
But that's a different shtick that I will talk about another day.
What about yourself? I'm gonna go with LSU for this one, and I technically the upset, but the reason is not the reason, but one of the reasons is one of the most backbreaking things or one of the most like disappointing things for an offense is 3-and-outs. Just not being able to get the first down, back all, put the defense back on the field. Right now, Alabama is converting 40% of the third downs, which is 61st in the country, but is actually second to last in the SEC, behind only Oklahoma. So it's not they're not doing well. LSU is one of the best in the country, over 50% completing on third down, and LSU's defense is one of the best third down defenses in the country. So I'm kind of using the idea that like if you can have consistent possessions where if you're LSU's defense, you can get Alabama's offense off the field in 3 plays, it's going to be phenomenal. The more you keep Alabama's defense on the field, the better you have, the better the chance I really think it is for LSU. I guess the only, sorry, I just got a notification there. It's going to be LSU being able to run the ball. LSU needs to be able to run the ball again, similar to like their defense. They've got to be able to, they need to be able to get off the field on third downs, and they need to be able to run the ball. Alabama does have a good rush defense, so I'm curious to see how that plays. But I think it's going to be a lot of power versus power in this game, and we'll see if they can contain Ryan Williams too, because he's averaging over 20 yards a catch. So see if they can do. Let's see what they can do with him.
I also do want to mention the past 2 games Bama's played on the road, they have lost. They played at Vanderbilt, they lost 40-35, and they played at Tennessee, 24-17. And some say Tiger Stadium is a bigger and better atmosphere than Neyland Stadium. So you're going into another hostile environment that is going to be pumping, rocking. The decibel level is probably going to be 120 plus. Like it's going to be rocking. And
here's also, Ryan Williams averages over 20 yards a catch, just slightly. He's a very, very fast player. But the thing is, to get a 20-yard plus throw, you got to hold the ball if you're the quarterback for a second, let him get down there. LSU is ranked 3rd in the country in sack rate. Alabama's offensive line ranks 92nd in sack protection rate. So if this LSU could get to because Jalen Milroe is going to hold on to the ball slightly for Ryan Williams to get down the field, and Jalen Milroe is a guy that just does kind of hold on to the football for a longer amount of time. He's not going to be able to do that. I don't think in my mind there's any chance he's going to be able to sit back there and wait for Ryan Williams to get deep, because this LSU pass rush is going to be everywhere and all over him.
Now, the only thing that I will say about that is LSU has to be careful, because Jalen Milroe is a threat in the run game. He's got 380 yards and 12 touchdowns so far this 100%. Season.
Yeah.
So they will have to keep an eye on him.
If Jalen Milroe wants to beat us with his legs, let him do it, honestly. I think if you can limit their passing game, and if Jalen Milroe beats you by rushing for over 100 yards and a couple touchdowns, it is what it is. But I just don't – it's going to be an issue for sure. He can use his legs, but I think they're okay with letting him run if that means they're shutting down the big plays down the field.
Yeah, and I mean, as we've seen against Tennessee, Ryan Williams is human. Mm-hmm. He is human. He did, Gerard McCoy did play some good defense, but, I'm feeling good about this LSU pick. I feel like the numbers are – I shouldn't say the numbers, but the spread is not favoring them, and I feel like it's completely wrong. I'm going to be honest, but, I like LSU in this game.
All right, is that it for your college football report?
Now on.
Oh, you had the polls. Yep. That's right. My bad.
Now we're going on to my prediction for the college football playoff bracket. This is kind of based off the AP poll, but
Penn State won.
What?
Penn State won.
Absolutely. No, but disclaimer: the top 4 will be based on conference champions. I'm only going to 12, and my 12th one is gonna probably shake some people up, but controversy creates cash, I guess.
Sure, yeah. Yeah, we're getting paid for this.
Absolutely. No, but number 1, no surprise, it's Oregon. Right now, they're pretty much favored and projected to be the Big Ten champ. They're going to be the number 1 seed. They've been the one team in college football that has pretty much looked dominant. Hasn't had too many weak games. I think their weakest game was against Boise State, but even then, pulled out the 1-point win. Oregon just a powerhouse. Dylan Gabriel on his Heisman campaign. Don't think he's going to win it, but shout out to Oregon. Who do you have at number 1?
Oh, I wasn't prepared to do this myself. I'm just going to listen to you.
Okay.
I wasn't prepared to do this. I'll just listen to you and give my thoughts if I disagree on something.
All right, number 2, number 2 is going to be Georgia. They're projected, I shouldn't say projected, but they do have the win over Texas. They are kind of projected to be the SEC champion, and I have them slotted as the 2. Georgia can't go wrong with it. I feel like their offense is stifling a little bit, but in these next couple weeks, they can't afford it. If DJ Lagaway doesn't get injured in that, Georgia-Florida game, Florida might win. I'm not going to say for sure because I don't know for sure, but that game is going to look entirely different. Georgia does have Tennessee coming up here soon, so they gotta get their offense together. If they have another stale game, it could mean a loss and potentially out of the college football playoff, depending on who they lose to. At number 3, I do have the University of Miami. I don't like this team. I'm going to be honest. I don't think they're as good as everyone says they are, but they do have a Heisman candidate in Cam Ward who has been playing pretty damn good this season, and they're pretty much favored to win the ACC. I mean, there's not really anybody stepping in their way. I feel like SMU is going to have a shot at it, but, that's neither here nor there. At number 4, my projection for the Big 12 champion is BYU. I know
you did say conference because I guess in my head I'm like, I don't think there's a world where Ohio State's not 3 in the poll. But you said for the conference champion. So, okay.
Yeah, the top 4. Like, this is kind of like the bracket I'm panning out.
I get you. You're doing the college football. Yeah. I'm thinking of like the AP polls and for like the okay.
Yeah, no, this is pretty much like what I see for the seeding.
Got you. Okay.
Yeah, I should have made that clear, but this is kind of like my seeding that I would see. Some people think Colorado could make a play for the Big 12 championship.
No.
No, you're immediately cutting that down.
I listen. This Colorado team is fun to watch. I just no. I don't think There's something to be said about they just have a lot of distractions, a lot of outside stuff going on, and not all of it's bad either. A lot of it's like good for the team. I think Shedeur Sanders just today or yesterday announced that he is going to be declaring for the draft, which I don't think surprised anybody. I don't know. I'm not buying that they're going to win the Big 12.
Like I said, there's just rumors out there. They still, if Kansas State wins out, they still have to deal with the loss to Kansas State earlier in the year. But, anything can happen in that Big 12. It's going to be very interesting. Iowa State still in play there after losing last week, but, anything could happen. Now at number 5, I have Ohio State.
Yeah, okay. I got you.
Yep, coming off of the win against Penn State. Can't really keep them any. They got to be the highest at-large bid.
Yeah.
Like I said, don't think it's Ohio. This is the tricky thing about this year is I don't think there's that number 1 powerhouse team that is going to annihilate everybody.
I agree.
It's not like Alabama for like that 5-year stretch. You know what I mean? To where it was kind of just like maybe one team could beat them, and it was like Clemson, and then Georgia finally. I feel like this year it's almost damn near an even playing field. But with that win against Penn State, I do have to put Ohio State at 5. Now, at the 12 spot, who they will be playing.
Okay.
Going to 12. Who they're going to be playing. I have SMU.
Okay.
SMU is a really, really good football team. And depending on what could happen, they could be the ACC champion. The last game they just played against Pitt, their quarterback, I do believe, threw for over 250 yards, and their running back had around 200 yards. They have a very dynamic offense, and it's fun to see. As long as SMU continues what they're doing, who knows what could happen. So Ohio State versus SMU, I'm going to have to go Ohio State.
Are you giving your whole bracket right now?
No. I'm just giving kind of like the first round.
Okay.
Obviously, it'll change as the weeks go on, but hypothetical situation, Ohio State, SMU, I got to go with Ohio State.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, at the 6th spot, we have the fake UT. We have Texas. Horns down.
No, horns up.
Horns down. No, but Texas is playing really good. I'm not 100% sure. They do have Quinn Ewers and they do have Arch Manning. I think Arch Manning is the one starting right now. He's playing some really good ball. Texas is they're a well-oiled machine right now. They did have that loss to Georgia, but Georgia, number 2 team, not a slouch. Not a slouch, but not a bad loss. If you're going to lose to anybody, lose to the number 2 team in the nation. Now, at number 11, I have Boise State. Boise State. People do not realize how good Boise State actually is. This is the 5th conference champion. That would get in as an automatic bid, but I don't have them at 12. I have them at 11 because right now they're 12 in the polls. I feel like they could climb a little bit higher, maybe even get into the top 10.
For sure. Okay.
That's neither here nor there. But Boise State, Ashton Jeanty has been getting a lot of attention from opposing defenses. And last game they shut him down a little bit, but he still ended up going for over 150 yards and a touchdown. But their passing game is opening up even more. It's very interesting to see how much Ashton Jeanty actually affects the game,
Yeah, 100%.
Also, Ashton Jeanty to Dallas, maybe.
Hey, listen, I got a lot to talk about with Dallas, so we'll just...
Yeah. I'll try to speed this up a little bit, but Texas versus Boise State, I do got to go with the SEC team, Texas.
Yeah, I agree.
Texas is just too good.
Now, it's a good run, but yeah, that's running into a powerhouse.
Yeah, I think Genty's still going to do what he needs to do, but Texas is just a better overall team. At number 7, I have Penn State.
Oh, that's fair. Okay.
Penn State, they did lose, but Penn State is still a good football team. They do have Tyler Warren, arguably the best tight end in college football. I feel like a lot of people would agree with me on that. Their quarterback situation with Drew Aller, I believe he's still questionable.
He played this past week, so I'm assuming he's just going to keep playing.
So, Drew Aller, as long as he stays healthy, this Penn State team, with the running backs they have and the defense they have, they could be a force to be reckoned with. I have them going against number 10 Notre Dame.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good game.
That would be a damn good game.
I'm always going to ride for Penn State, but that could very much be an upset alert.
I wouldn't even really call it an upset. I don't think Notre Dame...
I guess I'm talking about ranking-wise, I guess.
Obviously, I do have Notre Dame at 10. I'm going to be honest, don't think Notre Dame is as good as everyone says they are. I do think Army will beat them in a couple of weeks, spoiler alert. But no, I have Penn State winning this game. I do. I really do.
Okay.
On to our last 2 seeds. At number 8, I have Tennessee. At number 9, I have Indiana.
Okay.
Indiana has been surprising people. They are undefeated up until this point, and they are projected to face Oregon in the Big Ten championship. So, it holds out. That'll be interesting. Indiana still has to play Ohio State. So,
Shout out Hoosiers.
And like I said, number 8, I have Tennessee. Tennessee's been playing some good ball, especially behind their star running back, Dylan Sampson, who has about 900 yards and 19 rushing touchdowns. He just broke the Tennessee record for rushing touchdowns. Shout out to him. But this is going to be a surprise. But with how Tennessee's played and how I know they play, I'm going to go with Indiana.
I'll give you Penn State. I'll give you the Tennessee nod because you gave Penn State the nod. We'll do it that way. We'll make it fair. Okay. I tried to say Penn State, but Tennessee State's a completely different team.
Yes. It's not this game. I feel like this game could go either way. It just depends on how Tennessee's offense shows up. But I got to give the nod to Indiana, even though it hurts me to say as a Tennessee fan.
Yeah.
But that wraps up all I believe, by the time this comes out, it'll already be out. Who's where, have to look back and see how well I did. Probably not too damn good, but,
Hey, that's what we're here for. We're here to have fun. We're here to predict things.
Yep. One thing before we move on, my major prediction is that there will be 2 Group of 5 teams in the college football playoff.
Okay.
There's going to be 2 of them. Army's going to win out and get that 12 spot, and Boise State's going to be at 9 or 10.
Okay.
That's my in-season projection for Army and Boise State.
That'll do it for your college football report?
That'll do it for the college football report.
All right, so next we're going to head into the NFL trade deadline. But before we do that, let's hear a word from our partners.
I am proud to announce we are partnered with Dubby Energy Drink.
Dubby was formulated to give you focus and energy with no jitters or crash, all while tasting amazing.
If you go to the link in the description, it will take you to our sponsored flavor, Push and Punch.
Use code TIMEOUTJG That is TIMEOUTJG at checkout for 10% off your order.
Thank you to W Energy for partnering with us, and back to the episode.
All right, now that we've heard a word from our partner, we're going to get into the NFL trade deadline, which I think I mentioned at the beginning of the episode was pretty disappointing for the names that got traded. I know both of our teams my team made a trade, your team made a couple trades, and we'll get into that a little bit later. No big names. There was rumors that maybe DK Metcalf gets moved, and then they came out and said we're not trading DK Metcalf. Okay, that's fine. And I'm trying to think the best player that got traded. I'm trying to think. Is it Mike Williams? It's Marshawn Lattimore. I think it's Marshawn Lattimore.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
And then you have like Mike Williams got traded. Preston Smith got traded. I'm pretty sure Darius Smith got traded. I think I had that. Did I not? I don't know. I got them all pulled up here. But anyway, just talk about. So there's been a bunch of different trades. We're going to get into them and talk about each one of them. Some more than others because some are just whatever trades and stuff like that. So I figured we'll start with the Rams. The Rams are sending cornerback Tre'Davious White and a 2027 seventh round pick to the Ravens for a 2026 seventh round pick. Okay, I want to hear your opinions on this one first.
As a Steelers fan, I hate it. Mm-hmm. I hate when the Ravens bring in better players or good players. I always hate it, but from just a football perspective, Tre'Davious White is going to be a corner that the Ravens are going to use a lot, especially when. Let me just quickly pull up the rest of their schedule here. Hold on. Because looking at this right now, they play the Bengals. Let's see, they got the Bengals, Philadelphia, Pittsburgh twice, Houston, Cleveland, the chart. Yeah, I mean, they could use a bolster to that cornerback room going up against, like Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. The Pittsburgh Steelers with George Pickens, the newly acquired wide receiver we'll talk about in a little bit. But, bolstering that cornerback room is going to help them a lot. Especially you got Marlon Humphreys, Nate Wiggins. Tre'Davious White is probably going to step in and be that right corner that they need.
So my thing about this is this isn't 2020 Trey White. Yeah. It's just not. Trey White really hasn't been good since 2020, honestly. So it's good depth for them, and I think he's, like you said, he's going to get play time. But I think this is like they traded the seventh round pick for him. You know what I mean? It's pretty obvious this is not a guy that's going to be. I don't think going to be every down starting corner for him. He's just not. Since 2020, so in 2019, he was a Pro Bowler and an All Pro. In 2020, he was a Pro Bowler, and he was also an All Pro and second team All Pro. He was first team in 2019, second team in 2020. In 2021, he played 11 games, got hurt. In 2022, played 6 games, got hurt. In 2023, played 4 games, got hurt. And then he's played 4 games this season. He's played a total of, 21 games the past 3 years. And he just struggles to stay on the court, or no, the field, struggles to stay on the field. He signed with the Rams this year. He was with Buffalo since 2017. Signs with the Rams this year because I think a lot of people thought the Rams would be better than they were. They've had a bunch of injury stuff going on with there. And he now gets sent to Baltimore. It's cool. It's depth. He's going to get play time, but it's just, I think you're not getting 2020 Trey White. You're not getting 2019, 2020 Trey White. And maybe going to the Ravens in a winning situation, he'll kind of bump himself back. Maybe, if you can say health, maybe bump himself into a consistent, just decent starting corner. It's a good depth move for them, but I don't think it really moves the needle anywhere on the defense. I could be wrong, and I pray I am wrong. I pray he does play well, but I don't think it's a needle mover.
Now, in my opinion, like with the trade package, White and a seventh for a seventh, you might as well just gave him.
I was gonna say, you didn't trade anything to get him if you're the Ravens, so it's like, sure, yeah, because he's gonna be better than a 7th round talent. So
yeah, you basically just got him for free, pretty much.
Yeah. It's just, I don't know. It's not a crazy deal, but
It's a move.
It's a move. I think it's going to be decent for him. I just don't think it's any cause for concern for people to be like, if you're a fan of, like I said, in the AFC North, like a Steelers, a Bengals, a Browns fan, it's like I don't think it's any deal that you're like, oh shit, they had Trey White now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Next, the Chicago Bears traded Khalil Herbert, running back, to the Bengals in exchange for a 2025 7th-round pick.
I mean, I believe it came out that one of the Bengals running backs is out for the season. I think Zach Moss.
Okay.
Is out for the year, I do believe. Let me just check that just to make sure. But no, it's a good depth piece at running back for a team that's been kind of relying on, I believe on Chase Brown.
Mm-hmm.
It's a move, you know.
He's got 8 carries on the year.
Yeah, it's a move.
Yeah.
It's a move to bring in another running back because I know they did have I believe it's Zach Moss as their backup, but it's a move to get another running back in there next to Chase Brown.
And honestly, like I do like Khalil Herbert because he's been pretty decent for the Bears the past couple of years. But now obviously they brought in they have Johnson. They brought in DeAndre Swift. Like they just brought in backs that are better than Herbert, so he just didn't get it. But I mean, you look at the 3 years that he's been in Chicago. His rookie year, 103 attempts, 433 yards, 2 touchdowns. His second year, 129 attempts, 731 yards, 4 touchdowns. Last year, 132 carries, 611 yards, 2 touchdowns. Like I think he's gonna get carries over Chase Brown. It's again not a needle mover, but they do need a running back there in Cincinnati. I don't know if it's maybe too late. I don't want to say it's too late for this season, but they're looking kind of rough. So you kind of trade. What was it again? I said it was a 7th-round pick. Again, same thing what we saw with the Ravens with Trey White. You trade a 7th-round pick for a guy that has nothing but, like, he's either going to play well, like he has in the past couple of years for you. It's like, okay, sweet, we got a 7th-rounder for him. Or he's not going to play good. It's like, yeah, okay, we gave up a 7th round. It doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, it's not like you gave up a 4th rounder.
Okay. Okay. I don't want anything to drink anymore after that one. Listen, man. Hey, what else do you have about this one before we move on to the next one?
Not much. I mean, like you said, it's a good depth piece. They can trot him out there when Chase Brown is tired or whatever. They just need a change of pace back. I do like it for the Bengals, especially giving up a 7th-round pick because not a lot of guys come out of the 7th round.
Honestly, I think there's a world where he takes majority snaps from Chase Brown. I don't think right away, but I think over the course of the season, there's a chance he I don't want to say like he gets 80%, but I think it could be like a 60-40 split. Like I think it comes a world where he could take snap count from it. And let me see. So, okay, anything else for that one before I move on to the next one? I was just trying to find the exact details of this next trade.
Yeah, no, snap count's probably going to be about 70-30. I think he's going to get out there and play, but, Chase Brown is going to take most of the snaps.
Yeah. Oh, right. I'm still trying to... I'm trying a hard time. Fine. Okay, next one. The Browns are trading defensive end Darius Smith to the Lions. I've looked on 4 different websites. I cannot figure out what to trade it for him. I genuinely cannot find a 5th and a 6th, I'm assuming. That's what I'm seeing, but I'm not seeing anywhere. Okay, it's Smith in the 2026 7th-round pick going to Detroit for a 2025 5th and a 2026 6th-round pick. Right now, honestly, Darius Smith has been sneakily very good this year. He really has been. I had it pulled up here. Stats-wise, he has 5 sacks, 27 pressures, a 19% win rate, and he's through contract through next year. Also, I think I had the advanced stats. 19%. This is since 2022. Sorry, I pulled this all up last second. Since 2022, Darius Smith has a 19% pass rush win rate, which is 6th in the league over this time. 16% pressure rate, also 6th, and then 90.2 pass rush grade, which is 8th. So again, this is a guy that since he's left the Packers, a lot of people have kind of been down on him and not really keeping up with him. He's been good for this Browns team. He's been a good opposing side to a Myles Garrett. You know what I mean? So honestly, I like it. Obviously, they're up without Aiden Hutchinson the rest of the year, and he's not going to fill that void. But it's a good defensive pick for a 5th and a 6th-round pick.
Yeah, and he is going back to the NFC North.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it's North. Yeah, he's going back and playing in the NFC North, which he played with the Packers for many years. So he's kind of like going back to home without going back to home. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. I do like the move, especially coming from my point of view as a Steelers fan,
Mm-hmm.
because now you're getting rid of a pass rusher on the Browns, which is
Yeah.
always great when you got to deal with Myles Garrett. But I do like the move for the Lions, especially with the loss of Aiden Hutchinson.
Mm-hmm. And since the loss of Aiden Hutchinson, the run defense for the Lions has not been as good anymore. And he's I pulled up here. He's played 34.3% of defensive snaps in run defense, so he can hopefully come in and help you be better against a run because it's always a good thing there.
Yeah.
Next, so yeah, that was weird. I had it pulled up, but it had none of the information from the tweet from Adam Schefter earlier. So okay, yeah, that's where we had that pulled up. Next, we'll go ahead and talk about my team because it's just another small trade. Dallas Cowboys trade a 4th round pick for wide receiver Jonathan Mingo and a 7th round pick. I'm frustrated, to say the least. I'm frustrated to say the least because I'm gonna pull up here and just to make sure I don't have this wrong. Jerry had a quote because when the hell does he not have a quote, right? That's the only thing he knows how to do.
Oh, Jerry.
And let's see here. Sorry, I had it pulled up here for a second. Owner Jerry Jones said that they will be adding a wide receiver today before the trade deadline, a player they've admired since his college days. And you're like, okay, that sounds promising, right? Like, if you've admired this player since his college days, it means he's probably a pretty decent receiver, right? That you're like, oh, we can finally get him. Well, we traded a 4th round pick for a guy that has 12 catches and 121 yards on the season.
Yeah.
That's not even all of it. Jonathan Mingo's 0.75 yards per route run is dead last for any wide receiver that has caught 50-plus passes since 2000. 526 out of 526.
Brother.
Statistically, so I'll pull it up here. Among 72 wide receivers with at least 50 receptions since the start of the last season, Jonathan Mingo ranks. This is among 72 wide receivers. He ranks 72nd in receiving yards out of 72, and this is with everybody with at least 50 catches. So they're getting. It's not just the nobody's on the end of the bench. Yeah. 71st out of 72 in yards per route run. 72nd out of 72 in catch rate. He's catching less than 50% of the passes thrown his way.
What?
Listen, he was just a 2nd round pick a year or two ago, so I understand. He's very young. There's potential, and I think that's what they're banking on. But a 4th round pick for this guy.
Can I just...
When we just saw 2 years ago the Dallas Cowboys trade Amari Cooper, a proven veteran Pro Bowl receiver, to the Browns for a freaking 5th round pick. They got less in return for trading a Pro Bowl wide receiver than they gave up to get a guy in his 2nd year who is literally, statistically, with at least 50 catches, the worst wide receiver since fucking 2000. It's only been a year and a half for him. It's only been a year and a half for Jonathan Mingo. This is nothing. I want to be very clear. This is absolutely nothing against Jonathan Mingo. I remember him coming out of college. I was actually a fan of Jonathan Mingo coming out of college, and I hope he plays well for Dallas. Jerry Jones is this close. I can't drop too many F-bombs on this podcast, so we're going to get in trouble.
Yep.
Jerry Jones is this close to having a freaking riot in that stadium. People are pissed off. And they've been this way since he's made that dumbass comment last year. They lose the playoff game, and he says we're going to go all in next year. It's so bad. You know how bad it is? It's so bad that even Stephen A. Smith went on First Take, or whatever his show is, and said, I want to pull up the exact quote, because Stephen A. Smith is one of the world's biggest Cowboys hater. We know this. He hates the Cowboys. He loves to make fun of the Cowboys. And let's see, I had it up here for a second. It's just not, isn't it? It's First Take, right? His show is First Take.
Yeah, I do believe so.
Okay. So, Cowboys, First Take Cowboys. I want to pull it up here. And he goes on a long rant that I'm not going to play for you here. But the quote is, I know I love trolling Cowboys fans because their misery is my pleasure. But this is not the day for that. And he goes on a 2-minute rant about all the things wrong with the Dallas Cowboys. We are so bad and so dysfunctional that not even our biggest haters are clowning us anymore. They're just like, bro, what is happening? They feel bad for us at this point in time. Well, maybe not like for us, because I understand people hate Cowboys fans. But like, I just don't understand. I don't understand what this front office is doing. We are 3-5 on the year. Dak Prescott just got moved to the IR. It got announced earlier today, so he's going to be out for at least 4 games. At this point, they might sit him the rest of the year because of the way the team's going. CeeDee Lamb has his injuries. They're saying he probably will keep playing through it. Micah Parsons has been out for 6 weeks. Deron Bland hasn't played the entire goddamn season. We are just... DeMarcus Lawrence hasn't played. It's been 6 or so weeks since DeMarcus Lawrence has played. Zach Martin is old and probably going to retire. Terrence Steele is the worst right tackle I've seen with my own 2 fucking eyes in the history of football. Tyler Guyton's a raw potential rookie that is getting run over because, again, he's a rookie. I love Tyler Smith, man. He's one of our only... He's been a good offensive lineman his whole 3-year career. I love the guy. Our number 1 running back is a guy that hasn't been good since 2019, and he got brought in for nostalgia purposes. Our backup running back is Rico Dwaddle, who will have 1 or 2 good games and then suck for the next 4 games. They bring in Dalvin Cook, which I was happy about. Then they leave him on the goddamn unactivated list for 8 weeks until they finally decide to bring him in. Not even Trayvon Diggs tore a muscle in his calf. Our safeties are literal terrorists. They fucking suck. Mike McCarthy. I never liked Mike McCarthy, even when he was in Green Bay. And I know we didn't have this podcast, but I remember vividly telling you I was hoping they did not hire Mike McCarthy years ago when they were in that, because I'd never liked him. I thought he was always carried by Aaron Rodgers. We're seeing it now. There's not really anything good going for this team right now. And, like, I get it. I think a lot of people understood the Cowboys weren't going to be as good this year. We were 12-5 the past, 3 or 4 years. And I think a lot of people knew, even I had us predicted lower than 12 wins. I think I had 10 or 11. Like, everybody knew this team's going to take a step back because they didn't do anything in the offseason after Jerry said we were going to go all in the offseason. All in, a year and a half, all in a half a year later has been letting go of 4 starters in the offseason and then trading for a wide receiver who was statistically the worst wide receiver since 2000 for a 4th-round pick. Don't forget, this is the 2nd year in a row we traded a 4th-round pick, right? We traded... Oh, Levi's gone. This shit got so crazy, Levi left. We traded a 4th-round pick for Jonathan Mingo. It's the 2nd year in a row we traded a 4th-round pick. You want to know where that 4th-round pick went last year? The 4th-round pick we traded last year is for Trey Lance, who's not even going to play with Dak Prescott out. They're playing Cooper Rush. Why? Why are we playing Cooper Rush? We're 3-5. We went 5-1 with Cooper Rush a couple years ago when Dak Prescott was hurt. I don't want to hear that fucking argument because our defense didn't give up over 20 points once in that entire 6-game stretch. Not even once did they give up over 20 points. And our running game was still good. We still had Zeke at that point in time. Or the better version of Zeke than what he is now. I've seen so many Cowboys fans in my timeline saying Cooper Rush should be starting from the whole start of the season. You guys are box score watchers. You guys look at the stats. You see that he went 5-1. I am convinced you did not watch those 6 games of Cooper Rush. I'm not saying the guy was bad. I'm not saying the guy was bad at all. But he was not a good quarterback. And if we had this 2024 Dallas Cowboys defense is a completely light year different defense than a couple years ago that Cooper Rush had. If Cooper Rush And we're probably going to see it. Maybe I'm wrong. I mean, I'm probably going to look like an idiot because they're probably going to come out and win next week against the Eagles for no fucking reason. And it's going to blow up my face. But I'm telling you, if we watch this Cooper Rush team, this Cooper Rush with the team we have right now, they're going to get fucking walloped. We have no defense. We have no running game. And now we have no quarterback. And listen, I know a lot of people don't like Dak Prescott, and I'm not going to sit here and excuse Dak Prescott. He hasn't been great this year either. He was an MVP candidate last year, and he hasn't been good again this year, or he hasn't been good this year. But it's also because the rest of the team has not been good either. So it's kind of one of those things where the whole team is fucking falling apart. I don't even think Patrick Mahomes could be saving this team right now because Patrick Mahomes is not even having a great year. But they're what, 7-0, 8-0? Because they have good coaching and they have a good defense. That's exactly what Dallas does not have. We don't have good coaching. We don't have good defense. We have a fucking owner with CTE. He's 80 plus years old. Jerry, I don't want you around this team anymore. It's been years since you should have been out of this team. Or if you want to stick around and own the team because you've been owning it since the 90s and you're living off your 3 championships from the 90s and still considering yourself a great owner from those fucking 3 championships, you should have no influence on this team anymore because it's obvious you have dementia at this point in time. You're stupid. You're old. You should not have control over this team. Stephen Jones isn't really much better, so I'm not really sure what I'm asking for at this point in time because it's not like we're going to have anything better when Stephen Jones takes over because, listen, older guy has dementia. The kid, he's got like proximity dementia. You know, his dad has it, so he's got it in result. It's such a bad ran team. But Jerry Jones does not give a shit because he'll just come onto he'll go onto the radio, the Dallas Cowboys radio every week, and he makes some dumbass comment like, "Well, I like the pieces we have now, or we're looking to make trades at the deadline, if you." I don't know if you remember the other week when like the reporter kind of pushed him on how bad the team's playing. He's like, "Well, I'll just get somebody else in here to do your job." So he doesn't take any criticism. He wants people to love him, and the facade of Jerry Jones has wore off 10, 15 years ago, but it's getting to the point now where it's like 15 years ago, people were starting to already be like, okay, Jerry, you got to do something. 10 years ago, okay, Jerry, now you got to do something. Now it's like even the small percentage of Cowboys fans that were with Jerry Jones those 10, 15 years ago is gone. I don't think at this point in time Jerry has any supporters on this Dallas Cowboys fan base. I don't even know if Jerry has any support in this Dallas Cowboys organization other than his son. I don't even know if his son really supports him at all other than the fact that it's his dad. You know what? I'm just going to cut myself there because I could go for a lot longer. We're over an hour, and I spent like 10 minutes on that damn rant. It's just like, listen, to go back to the whole trade, I'm pissed we traded a 4th rounder for this guy. And again, there's nothing. I have nothing against Jonathan Mingo. I hope he comes out and I hope he plays well for us. You know what I mean? And I can only hope for the best for him. It's nothing to do with him personally. It's just we're giving him a 4th round pick when it just doesn't make sense compared to if we traded for a 6th round for this guy, like a 6th round pick, 7th round pick, I'd be in here like I was with the Trey White trade, with the Darius Smith trade. It's like, oh, okay. It's like, it's either he plays well and you're like, oh shit, we got something good for a 6th round pick, or he sucks and it's like, well, we didn't really give up anything. A 4th round pick is still a valuable pick in the draft, especially with a running back class like this year's running back. You could get a good running back in the 4th round, and now we won't do that because our past 2 years' 4th rounders are going to be sitting on the bench in Trey Lance and Jonathan Mingo. Dallas, I love you. I love this Dallas Cowboys team, but my God, it is genuinely the hardest team to root for in all sports, I feel like. Yeah, it's okay. Well, look, he just got cut off. The internet news about to say something, and it's like, no, you're done, buddy. Sorry for that rant. I try not to get emotional like that, but, I know non-Cowboys fans are probably laughing at us, and I respect it, but, hey, you're back. Now we can't even hear his audio. The podcast just doesn't like when we get over an hour, I'm waiting on you, so I don't know if you have anything. No, he still has no audio. Yeah, I can't. Oh, no, there he is. No, he's gone again. No, he's back. Oh, no, he's gone again. Well, you know what? I think that rant was a good spot for this. Honestly, there's a couple more trades I do want to mention. I might just tell him I can finish the episode. Let me text him real quick. I'll just tell him I can finish the episode so it doesn't. Sometimes when we get over an hour, we're on this recording website and this app, and it's been a lot better than like Skype was, because Skype just was a pain in the ass sometimes. But every once in a while, once you get over an hour, get close to an hour and a half, it just like it kicks him out. I don't know if his internet's just not good enough to hold it that long. I don't really know. But just in case he comes back, I'm going to save the Steelers one for the last two trades, just in case he does pop up. We did those trades. Next, I'm going to do the Mike Williams, or actually no, I'm going to say the Pittsburgh trades. Nope. Hey. Hello? Nope. Okay, he's going again. Trey White, we'll save Preston Smith. We'll save Mike Williams. I'll go ahead and just do the Marshawn Lattimore one. So, New Orleans is sending 4-time Pro Bowl corner Marshawn Lattimore to the Washington Commanders. The Saints had multiple interest in the 28-year-old corner, but he has a hamstring injury at the moment. Levi is not working. I think you should just head out. I think I can finish this myself because it's kind of all messed up now. Yeah, I think you should. It might screw up the. Hold on. Let me. Sorry about that. Just want to see. Hopefully he gets that because it's being weird. I'll just go ahead. I'll keep going. Yeah. Full trade per sources. New Orleans gets Washington's 3rd-round pick, Washington's 4th-round pick, and its 6th-round pick back from the John Ridgeway trade. Washington gets Marshawn Lattimore and the Saints' 5th-round pick. I mean, listen, this Commanders team has been a lot better than a lot of people thought they were going to the season. A lot of that's because Jaden Daniels has been phenomenal. And honestly, adding a guy like Marshawn Lattimore, I don't know how long he's out for. I'm gonna see if I can pull that up, because I guess that might have something to do with it. And I'll pull it up here by USA Today, see what they got him out for. I wasn't expecting to do this alone, so he's gonna keep jumping in and out. He's gonna keep jumping in and out. And I still can't hear you, man. If I was you, I would just if we can't hear you, I would just cut it so I can finish the episode so it doesn't like screw anything up with you coming in and out a bunch. I guess he's putting his headset back on. Yeah. No, no, still don't hear you, man. The Commanders' cornerback position is probably one of their weakest on their defense. So adding a guy like Marshawn Lattimore is really good. It's going to really help them. And unfortunately, as a Cowboys fan, it sucks to see. It sucks to see, teams in our division see their weaknesses and then go out and address them by bringing in good players. I don't know. It's just frustrating. But for the Commanders side, you're bringing in one of the better cornerbacks in the league for not really much of anything at all. And you know what I mean? Like, it's going to help. I don't know I'm still trying to find how long he's out for. And I'm not really seeing how long he's out for, because that does really make a difference on the trade. Well, I don't know if it really makes a difference on the trade. So he should be back soon. He had a concussion. I'm not. Sometimes when you try to find injuries on players, it just doesn't really do anything. Hamstring injury, but not seeing the how long he's going to be out for. Injury was confirmed, twice his hamstring history, blah blah blah. I'm not getting anything. I'm just this being stupid. But the Commanders, I think, are going to make a playoff push. I don't think it's surprising at all. I think they're 7-2 now, 6-2, 7-2 now. They're going to make a playoff push, and having Marshawn Lattimore back there with how good their offense is playing, I think it's going to be a huge deal for them. The Saints, they've now lost 7 in a row. They beat the Cowboys in week 2, and they beat the Panthers, I think, in week 1. They blew up both of those teams, and then now lost 7 straight games. You have Michael Thomas going on Twitter and shit-talking Derek Carr. You have Chris Olave's brother getting on and shit-talking Derek Carr. And also, shout out Chris Olave. I know he did go to the hospital after that hit. Derek Carr threw a hospital ball to him. He got hit. That sucked. And, we're praying Chris Olave is going to be okay. But a lot of people are off the Saints train now. And, you have their players coming out on Twitter and like apologizing. Losing to the Panthers is a rough thing to do. So I guess they're kind of in the fire still at this moment, and they saw an opportunity to get out of the Marshawn Lattimore contract. So that's what they did. And we'll do the last two trades here pretty quickly, so I don't want to be here too long by myself. Okay, there we go. The Packers trade, there we go, Preston Smith and his 7th-round pick. Or no, the Steelers are sending a 7th-round pick to the Packers in exchange for edge rusher Preston Smith, just helping out their defensive line more. They have TJ Watt, they have Cam Hayward, they have they have a lot going on in that front seven. And, they've looked pretty good, too, since bringing in Russell Wilson. So I think we made an apology for that last episode. We did not think it was going to be as great as it's been. It's only been a couple games, but bringing in an edge rusher like that, or he might play like more of a inside role. He's not going to be the craziest pass rusher, but I think he might help in your run defense and offer a couple sacks. He's at 2.5 right now. He's coming off an 8-sack season, 8.5, 9. So he's been pretty good the past 3 to 5 years, and I just think they don't really trade up much to give him, just like they've been trading 7th-round pick. Everybody's been trading 7th except for Cowboys. So, they trade a 7th-round pick to get a rotational edge rusher, inside rusher. It's an easy, really good depth trade for them as well. And then probably the second biggest trade of the deadline is Pittsburgh is trading a 2025 5th-round pick to the Jets for wide receiver Mike Williams. Now, one of the biggest things about this Pittsburgh offense is that they don't really have a lot of wide receivers outside of George Pickens. And they have, obviously, their tight ends and stuff like that. But, like, Mike Williams kind of is going to fall out of favor now that they have Devontae Adams and, like, obviously Randall Cobb. Like, Aaron Rodgers loves his guys from Green Bay, so they're gonna get the ball. Alan Lazard's there. I said Randall Cobb. I meant Alan Lazard and Devontae Adams. Yeah. not Mike Williams. And Mike Williams he's had his injuries to start the year as well, too. He's 30 years old now, and he's got 12 catches, 166 yards, and no touchdowns on the season. He hasn't really been involved in the offense at all, and he definitely should be involved more with Russell Wilson in Pittsburgh. I think he's going to be the number 2 receiver right out the bat with him and George Pickens on either side of each other. And I think it's a good trade. Again, a 5th-round pick, I believe it was. Yeah, 5th-round pick for a better receiver. Dallas, you guys could have sent a 5th-round pick for Mike Williams. Don't want to get into them too much, but shout out to Steelers, man. The Steelers had a really, really good depth trade deadline, bringing in, a defensive line, wide receiver. They really did address 2 of their needs. I don't think these guys are going to come in and save the year for them. But I think Mike Williams is a good Band-Aid receiver and a guy that, you would hope can help progress George Pickens and kind of work with him if George Pickens decides he would like that. Hopefully he does. That'll do it for this trade deadline. It was, I think I'd give it like a B minus. Definitely, there was no real big names. Like, Marshawn Lattimore was definitely the biggest name traded, but nothing like too crazy. And it was kind of a disappointment. But there wasn't really a lot of rumors. Like I said, DK Metcalf was rumored to get moved, and then they came out and said they're not doing that. So that kind of killed a lot of hype there. It just ended up being me at the end of this episode after the Cowboys rant. It cut off Levi's internet, I guess. So sorry about that rant. I try not to do that too often. I try not to get that emotional, but it's been a long time of suffering, and Jerry just keeps coming out and making comments about this team, and it's just getting so frustrating. Go check out my channel, Cloud2K. I do the report every Sunday. Then I do 2K videos and a couple other games throughout the week. And it's a lot of fun. I would appreciate you guys to tune into that. I'm trying to get to 500 subscribers. And, yeah, man, that'll do it. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.